agony of defeat.
Oh, look at him go! Oh, baby. Oh, no.
This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
327 teams open this season in pursuit of perfection. Only one is still standing. The Duke Blue Devils, at the top of their game for 15 years, don't rebuild, they reload. Driven by 4 dazzling freshmen and veteran leadership, the Blue Devils have once again assumed what's become familiar position atop the national rankings. The one constant in Duke's success has been Mike Krzyzewski, whose tireless, passionate pursuit of perfection has inspired his players to 3 national championships.
I think what all of us admire about Coach Ken Duke is how he consistently gets the best players.
When people will say, well, you know, you've got a good program, I always think, yeah, and yet we're still miles behind that program.
And I would say right now, he's probably the dean in college basketball.
But don't expect Gary Williams and the national champion Terrapins to be in awe of the Blue Devils. In what's recently become the rivalry in the ACC, the Terps have handed Duke 3 of their last 8 conference losses and would like nothing more than to ruin their perfect season. Today, 2 storied programs look to renew the ACC's newest and fiercest rivalry. The unbeaten Blue Devils and the defending national champion Terrapins tip it off next. This is UBS Payne Weber College basketball. The Maryland Terrapins, they are the kings of the court until someone knocks them down, defending national champions. But Duke has been the best team throughout this early season. The only team in college basketball remaining unbeaten. 12-0 goes up against 9-4. And welcome to college basketball here on ABC. John Saunders alongside of Digger Phelps. There is some veteran leadership for Duke, but J.J. Redick, 34 points against Virginia for the youngster.
It still comes back to experience in this game. And Redick can go off, get 30, maybe end up with 15. But when you look at Duke, it's got to be Dante Jones and Chris Duhon. But Maryland, Steve Blake, Drew Nicholas, who were 8 for 25 against Wake. The other factor will be easy points. Duke likes to force you into turnovers to get their easy points. Maryland wants to pound the glass, gets those second chance points. But, John, I think Gary Williams wants his game today in Cole Fieldhouse.
It's a little late. He's got another C, but it's for Comcast, the brand new building there. Check a couple other scores in the Big East first. Syracuse down at Pitt, looking to avoid losing for the 3rd straight time to the Panthers.
Well, Pitt made it close at the half. Syracuse 10 turnovers gave Pittsburgh 16 easy points.
And we will follow this game. The UConn women look to establish an NCAA record for women with their 55th consecutive victory, up 51-25 over Georgetown.
And Diana was only 2 for 10 that first half, even though she's got 17 now and 16. Big moment for Gino.
Of course, we will be back at halftime. J.J. Redick, the youngster, we told you, keep an eye on this guy, averaging 17 a game. Duke and Maryland is coming up next.
There's only one unbeaten team left in college basketball, and today, Duke faces its toughest test of the season. They pay a visit on the Maryland Terrapins, last year's national champion. It's a sold-out Comcast Center in College Park, Maryland, and it features 2 of the finest coaches in the college game. The legend Mike Krzyzewski and the job that he has done with the Blue Devils. He won a national title 2 years ago, 576 career wins. Gary Williams won last year's national championship, and he was the ACC Coach of the Year. So good afternoon, welcome everybody. I don't need to tell you, Dickie V is fired up about this one here today. And along with Dickie, I'm Brent Musburger. A pleasure to be with you. Let's talk about this rivalry, Dick. You know, I'm not so sure it hasn't surpassed Carolina Duke as the best in the ACC, at least for the time being. Your feeling?
Well, I think it's no doubt the most intense rivalry in terms of coaching in America. Gary Williams and Mike Krzyzewski. Certainly North Carolina and Duke is special, but the bottom line is everything relates to success. And with Maryland being up on top and Duke, it becomes an absolute dynamite matchup.
I know you've been raving about the point guard matchup we've got here today.
Well, you know, Brent, they're great point guards across America. That's the theme in basketball. But Chris Duhon leads the nation in assists. And then you talk about for Maryland, their orchestra leader is Steve Blake. Blake can flat out distribute the rock and has to have a big game today if they're to beat the Dukies.
Now, Michelle Tafoya has crossed the country through the night. She's left the Lakers in Houston. She'll tell us about J.J. Redick, Duke's leading scorer. Michelle?
Absolutely, because Gary Williams, Brent, told me that J.J. Redick's going to get a lot of attention from Maryland's defense today. Redick is coming off a record performance Wednesday against Virginia, 34 points, 5 of 6 from three-point range. His accuracy, I'm told, was evident from the time he was just 1 year old. The story goes that his parents were then self-employed artists. They were watching over their gallery and gave him a hammer and some finishing nails to keep him occupied. They'd hear him banging on those nails into the hardwood floor, but one thing they never heard was J.J. Redick crying or whimpering in any way, because he never once struck his own hand with that hammer. Now, what Maryland's hoping today is that J.J. doesn't hammer them with their outside shooting. Brent?
All right, Michelle. And we see the Toyota starting lineups. Maryland today opens with 5 seniors: Holden, Randall, McCall, Nicholas and Blake, and Purdue, Jones, Williams, Randolph, Redick, and Duhan. So for those of you who perhaps are seeing J.J. for the first time, he wears number 4 out of Verona, Virginia. He would be the first freshman to lead Duke in scoring since Johnny Dawkins, who's now an assistant coach over there on the Duke sideline. And that was back in the early 80s when Dawkins did that. So we'll see if Redick, who apparently likes to come off the screen in our conversation with Mike Krzyzewski, they have taught him to take the ball off the screen and then attack with it. And we'll see now, Dick, how Duhan sets it up.
Well, they're going to really attack him defensively. They're not going to allow him to get some good looks.
They missed their first shot, an air ball from Williams, and Blake comes quickly to the attack. Maryland needs to hit the boards better than they did in that upset loss at the hands of Wake Forest. Coach Gary Williams telling us that was the key to that loss. They just did not attack the glass.
They need a big performance out of the kid Holden. Holden, a veteran player. Gary Williams, banner hanging high here, national champs. Banner hanging high in Durham, national champs the year prior.
Both teams are nervous, Dick. You can tell that.
Yeah, a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion. This place has been juiced up since 11 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, they'll settle down. Here's Redick. His first shot of the game, the 3-ball on the money, and we should tell Michelle he didn't hit his thumb with that hammer that time either.
No, I used to hit my thumb all the time, but I can tell you this, he had 34 in that game against Virginia and was 11 for 11 on the free throw line.
High-intensity defense. Maryland searching for the good shot. Blake will try to set the table, and he'll fire the 3-ball this time. And Redick, let's go.
He really believes that he has to score more this year, certainly with the departure of Ron Dixon and Wilcox and Baxter. He's had some great moments at a shootout with Coverdale of Indiana in a game they lost in the last minute.
Jones weaves in, and our first foul of the game goes against Maryland.
There's a look at Redick. Brent, there's the screen, squares his body exceptionally well, great rotation. I believe he's going to become the greatest shooter ever to wear a uniform.
Greatest shooter? Now, wait a minute. Now, let's go back.
Jeff Mullins.
Langdon could shoot.
Yeah, Langdon could shoot it. But I say, Brent, when it's all said and done, he will go in the books as the best pure shooter ever to wear a Duke uniform.
That's high praise indeed for a freshman now.
He's going to back me up, I can tell you that. He's got the real stroke. He's had 6 double 20-point games or more, has a chance.
How about Mark Allery? I go back to the 80s on that Dawkins team. 86, they got to the finals, and I've already mentioned Langdon.
Yeah, they lost that year to never nervous Purvis Ellison. Allery was a good shooter. Berry was a good shooter. Langdon was exceptional. Mullins certainly exceptional. And I think this kid is going to be so unique and so rare. I mean, in today's day and age, when you can shoot like he does, Brent, it hides a lot of liabilities.
Well, a little pressure put on the inbound pass of Duke here to see if they can get it up. And they do. They put it right into Redick's hands. McCall trailing him. And bad pass. Duhan was behind him, and Redick didn't take his time to see exactly where Duhan is. So he's not perfect, even though Dick says he's got a chance to be in it. And he does indeed. I mean, whenever you talk, Gary Williams was singing his praises, as a matter of fact, coming into this game.
So is Blake.
Blake misses, a tap back, and out of bounds, and go over to the Blue Devils.
You know, you look at both clubs, Brant, they lost so much from last year, and it's a tribute to both coaches that they just reload. When you think of losing the likes of Williams, Dunleavy, and Boozer, then there's Wilcox and certainly Baxter and the kid Dixon. I mean, that was a big-time loss to 6 NBA players.
Dick, what a great environment this arena is. Randolph, another one of the talented freshmen, pulls the trigger for the J. What about him now?
Oh, I think he's going to be special. His last 2 games, he showed his versatility. He's so skilled for 6'10". He's got to get stronger to that body.
Sitting down low, and he went back defensively that time, and it'll be Maryland ball out of bounds.
Travlak Randolph, one of the heavily recruited kids in America. We're going to watch the ball entered inside. There's the block.
There is the turnover, and the Blue Devils with a very positive start, showing us why they are the nation's only unbeaten. And Reddick starts out 2 for 2 in a hostile environment. I've got to tell you, Mr. Vitale, I'm impressed when a freshman comes into this environment, surrounded by red, and does that.
And he's only a diaper dandy. He's got such a future, and he'll be probably a 4-year player. Loves the college environment, and he's more than just a shooter.
Now, you and I watched a shooter last night by the name of Stevie Francis, who played here at Maryland, put 44 up, and you watch just what Dick tells you. The squaring up to the basket, you were saying, was so important for young shooters.
Yeah, square the body, get the great rotation, the follow through. You're right. Last night we talked all about, you know,
called me 3 times.
Shaquille. What about Francis? I mean, 44 points, 11 assists.
And Michelle, Steve Francis, really, it was all about Yao Ming and Shaq, and Francis walked off with the thunder when it was over.
And he said to say hello to Gary Williams. He absolutely is so devoted to him, said that Gary Williams is the reason he is where he is today, gave him so much exposure at Maryland. Today, Gary Williams bent on slowing down Reddick. They're going to try to attack him defensively and wear him down, but he warns Reddick is in very good shape. He's got a quick release, a great shooter. Trying to make him work on the defensive end might not be enough, Dickie V.
Well, you know, last year they came in here #1 in America, Duke, at the Coalfield House, and they were beaten. They had a great game out of Wilcox in that 3-second area last year, scored 23. They couldn't handle it.
Dick, for a team that had seniors on the floor, I find the Maryland performance early to be shaky against this Duke. I'm surprised.
Well, you know, they're seniors, though, but many of them were guys that came off the bench, weren't starters. Here's a guy that could be the MVP of the conference this year, Dante Jones.
Dante Jones hits another 3-ball, and Duke runs off to a 10-point lead. The crowd grows quiet here at the Comcast. And the Blue Devils are up on the Krzyzewski sideline, and this is a big-time start on the road, folks.
They have worked on his shot, squaring his body. I mean, there's no doubt. See, now he doesn't need all that other nonsense. Doesn't need that. Remember they told us about that today? Just play basketball.
And Dick, stats man on top of it. 5 turnovers and 8 possessions for Maryland. That won't do it against Duke.
No, he's really a solid defensive team as well. And the big thing is they quiet the crowd with the early start.
Reddick comes to baseline with a big-time drive and a shoot to the corner. Randolph, offensive rebound, and again, Maryland having difficulty controlling the glass.
They got to get Randall established inside. Virginia hurt Duke on the interior. You got to pound the ball inside. Comes out of Maine, but he played down in L.A. with some of your buddies, the Pump Brothers, the AAU team. Played with them, got some experience out in L.A.
Well, the Pumps know the basketball community, let me tell you, folks. And they can identify talent. They help arrange some of the all-star games. Twins out west. Randolph with another shot.
Big possession. I'd pound it inside a little bit. I would get some touches on the interior. Randall, one of the most... some shots. Bring it on the inside.
Now, this is the Maryland team we expected to see.
Well, they got experience in the backcourt, certainly with Blake and Nicholas. Nicholas has stepped up, given good point production. Last game he was held by Wake Forest for 4 for 14, though.
That was good defense. Down on the low block, and Blake fouled by Duhan.
And the crowd gets eruptive. They jump up with joy. The Terp fans, over 18,000.
So here it is. Only one unbeaten left. #1 Duke. It appeared as though they were going to run off and hide, but Maryland said, no way, baby, no way.
NCAA basketball presented by UBS Payne Weber on ABC Sports. Brought to you by UBS Payne Weber. There's a process to building wealth, and our financial advisors know it. And Toyota. Get the feeling.
Some familiar faces in the crowd here today. The former great running back and the father of one of the greatest players in the history of Duke basketball, Calvin Hill. And I can't tell you how sad it was to hear that Grant Hill's season in the NBA could be over until the playoffs again. It's just unbelievable.
Oh, what he's had to go through with that ankle injury. We never got a chance to really enjoy the greatness of what a combination that would have been, Hill and McGrady up there in Orlando.
One of the classiest guys, and I'm really not exaggerating. Grant Hill is just a wonderful, wonderful human being, and we wish him the best. Great pass on the inbounds, and stuffed back down in on the inside by Ryan Randall, the senior from Duncanville, Texas.
He's really an improved player, Brant. He has really become active on the inside.
There's another bad pass, and suddenly it is Duke turning it over. Nicholas runs the floor. Oh, what a block that time. Dante Jones deck.
Unbelievable play. What emotion out here. Unbelievable intensity. Maryland and Duke, my friends, this is special. Take a look at Dante Jones. Look at his hustle. Great block. Normally they'll call interference usually on that play. Well, what a great block. Good timing. He was a defensive stopper. In fact, last year he shut down Juan Dixon up at Duke. Held him at 10.
And foul goes against Sanders. You know, Dick, it was 13-3, 7 unanswered points for the Terps because of 3 straight Duke turnovers.
That's the key in the basketball game. You got to reduce your turnovers. You got to get good shots. You get excellent shot selection. You always have a chance to win. And both these clubs are so well drilled. But people just don't realize the kind of personnel they lost, Brent. You don't lose guys, 6 of them, to the NBA and not have to change your whole. And, you know, when you look at your lineup, the team changes drastically.
Well, Dick, both teams lost their top 3 scorers a year ago, and the battle for the rebound, won by Maryland, put back in.
That's an area of concern for Mike Krzyzewski. The inside. I saw Georgetown play that turn until Michael Speedy got in foul trouble. And then Travis Watson certainly was dynamite inside for Virginia.
Ready back on the floor, misses that shot. Blake yanks the rebound away, and the senior point man brings it to the attack. Kick back, holding off the bluff. Attacks the paint. Nice pass. Throw to Randall. He's fouled. He'll shoot a pair for the Terrapin lead.
Good execution, bringing the ball to the inside. Nice high-low. Gonna watch him hit the glass. Really working on the boards right here. Maryland's got some good size inside. Taking advantage of that size, working on the interior. Momentum has certainly slid to Maryland's side now. Take a look at the rebound totals. A better than 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, everything has really turned around. The turnovers, the rebounding. The seniors are starting to play like seniors for Maryland. One of the things about Krzyzewski, and in our conversation with him before the game, you know, he's still looking for the total identity for this team. It isn't like he said, I picked 5 guys and said, you're my starters. He said, I still want to search this roster and see exactly what I've got.
This is a real test for them. They have not been on a road. They played 2 road games, legit road games. North Carolina A&T has not won yet this year, and they also played a road game against Clemson, which was a good road win.
Here comes Randall bumping on the inside, knocked out by Horvath. Maryland right now, folks, is on an 11-0 run, carving out their first lead of the day at 14-13 with 14:05 to go.
Starting to pound it inside a lot more, Brent, and that's why they've been effective.
Nicholas. Green yanks it away.
You were a very quiet player. Averages about 12 points a game. Played with T.J. Ford in high school, the star at Texas. They won the state championship together. Duan leads the nation in assists. There's the reason why, but you got to catch and score.
And another Duke turnover. That is 6.
That's a tough turnover when you think about it. You make a great pass and come up empty.
Back for the 3 ball. You can see turnovers in this game. First few minutes, the Terrapins couldn't handle the ball, and now it is Duke. Reddick with 3. Underneath. And finally, Maryland clears.
Got to be able to complete those plays. Good offensive rebound by Horvath, but comes up empty. I like this kid with the basketball. He could be a 1,000-point assist guy and a 1,000-point scorer here at Maryland. Nice pass. Nice pass. Tater Medley. Showed he can shoot the rock. Lost the starting job. But the Diaper Dandy's stepping up. He's saying, bring on the Dukies. Bring on Musburger. Bring them all on.
17-13. Well, let's focus on Coach Krzyzewski right now. And he was asked by our producer, Kim Belton, where this team is right now.
What we've tried to do is just kind of create an atmosphere where there's no ceiling for a kid. There's no ceiling for the team. And just see week to week, you know, where are we? And right now we're improving every week. We've played pretty good defense, really. And I see improvement. I see kids maturing, and I just want to keep that going before putting some stamp on them.
Yeah, Duke brings it down to the attack. They have not scored in the last 4+ minutes. So they're a little bit too easy for them early. Low, Williams. That's goaltending. They've scored now. There was no question about that.
Sheldon Williams, a big power guy, Brand, from out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's a kid that could give him some post scoring inside. He's demonstrated that he's super strong around the basket. Again, a very youthful, young kid coming out of the high school ranks.
Hey guys, you just heard Coach Krzyzewski talk about this team in development. Daniel Ewing's a prime example. Coach K doesn't feel he has 5 starters. He told me we have a bunch of starters, and the fact that a guy comes off the bench doesn't mean he's not a starter. We can only start 5. Ewing with the ball, trying to become one of those consistent starters, but it does not mean he's not a key player for this team, guys.
Another Duke turnover. That's into Nicholas's hands. Lead pass wants Smith out of bounds. Duke basketball. So we will take a break. Looks like it could be as good as advertised, eh, folks? Time out.
John Saunders and Digger Phelps back in the studio, updating this from the Big East. Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Knight to Page to Troutman.
Troutman had a big first half, breaking up that zone. Pittsburgh now first place in the Big East West, 73-60 win.
They swept Syracuse last year, and they get them again this year. Brent, Dick.
All right, John, and that movie star on the left, no, just teasing. That's Steve Bisciotti, who is purchasing the Ravens from Art Modell. Next to him, his best player, Ray Lewis, one of the greatest inside linebackers anybody has ever watched play.
And he's also smart enough to hang around with the owner, man. The guy who writes the check. I mean, what's the Staples Center? Is this L.A.? Where's Jack Nicholson? Is he in the house? Wow.
Dante Jones just knotted the game up at 17.
Dante's been on fire the last 8 games. Has really been dynamite offensively.
Now Nicholas
showing that versatility. Goes on the inside. Nobody communicates. They don't see volume man. To Duke.
Ewing on the drive.
He's a strong driver. That's one of the strong suits in Duke. Attacking. In fact, in their last game, Brent, they went to the free throw line 40 times and converted 37. And that's an area of concern for Gary Williams.
Back out to Smith and Tanner Medley, and here's play. Still plenty of time up on the shot clock. Now we're inside at 10. Nicholas knocks it down.
Nicholas was a great role player last year in that national championship team. Came off the bench, played really well for them in that run and winning it all, beating Indiana. But now he's become a PTP, or one of their real primetime performers. Nicholas all over Reddick, man. He's having a tough time getting free for looks. Look at this. Look at it. Right up in his face. Right up in his face.
Offensive foul.
Great job defensively by Maryland. Super effort by Nicholas right there on the Diaper Dandy.
21-19. Maryland leading here at the 10-19 mark of the first half. Gilchrist checks in for Maryland. That's the first action that John Gilchrist from Virginia Beach, Virginia has seen. He's a freshman, averaging 4.5 points a game.
They really like him. He's got a great future. He played with Reddick in the AAUs last year down in Virginia under Boo Williams. He has a great AAU program in Virginia.
Smith has it knocked away and picks it up. This is Gilchrist. And Emily the ball right now. Dick was telling you about. Good move on the inside, and it is stolen away.
Got to fill the lanes. He's got Dante Jones.
Dockery should have gone in and shot it, and he gets it back and scores. Dockery, really, his man on the right was covered that time, and he could have gone right to the rack with it.
Or he could have given it to Dante Jones on the left. He's out of the Windy City in Chicago, where Mike Krzyzewski played in high school.
Knocking it down is Nicholas, and he is warming. It's 24-21.
He has really responded, the veteran player. He's on the star stage right now and is stepping up.
Low to Randolph, drew the foul. Good maneuvering.
Great head fake inside for you young kids when they throw the ball into the post. Use those head fakes. Look at the guards. Look at him chasing them. Everywhere he goes. Look at Reddick. Reddick. Nice shot on him. Finding him everywhere he goes, man. And on this side, wide open, Mr. Nicholas. He says, give me that J. I'll knock it down all day. You're going to love Shavlik Randolph. His granddaddy was a great player at North Carolina State, Ron Shavlik. And his mom and dad graduated from North Carolina.
So he goes to Duke.
Dude, isn't that amazing? Mom and dad graduated North Carolina. Granddad's a superstar. He wants his own identity.
He'll have a child who will enroll at Wake Forest.
That's nice, the Big Four. I like that. He's got so many skills for a big player. Great stroke. He just has to get physically a lot stronger, and that will come. I'll tell you the one thing, the Duke kids have had a great support this year. The Cameron Crazies have been better than ever, giving them that real winning edge at home. You know, a lot of places like to emulate them, but they are still so unique down here.
You know, Maryland is being carried right now by Nicholas. He has their last 7 points, and no one else can score. But the Terps still lead the Blue Devils by a field goal. A reminder now, Super Bowl Sunday. Settle in for a day of nonstop entertainment. The pregame takes you up close and personal with the stars of the big game. Feature performances by Santana, Michelle Branch, the Dixie Chicks, Celine Dion. And then, of course, Super Bowl 37 available in HD TV. Now, you got an HD TV down there in Sarasota? You got one of those?
I just got the Dixie Chicks' big album, Home.
Now, hold on.
You get Home, Dixie Chicks?
Not gonna let
Celine Dion? I love the Dixie Chicks.
I know, Lorraine.
Well, you got a little Nelly. You got a little Nelly.
Super Sunday. Dick Vitale, a season ticket holder of the Buccaneers, is picking them to go all the way. I like the Raiders, and I like the Eagles to beat your Buccaneers tomorrow.
Oh, no. They're going to wrap up Mr. McNabb like they did to Michael Vick. They're going to rack up Mr. Sapp. He's ready, man. Sapp and that whole gang, Simeon Rice and Brooks. Mr. McNabb, you better get some sleep tonight.
Now, Gilchrist on a nice cut. You know, Gilchrist looks like he understands a little bit how to play, Dick. I think you're right about touting him.
He has good basketball IQ. That was great execution. Gary Williams, a teacher, worked so hard breaking down defenses.
Jones on a wraparound, Randolph underneath. Finally, Maryland yanks it away. Some of the players who are stepping up for Duke, Dick, the Randolph looks like he can play on the inside in a big-time environment.
He's going to be a special player, no doubt about it.
Dirty work underneath. Sometimes those youngsters don't get enough credit on the floor. Jones puts it down. Oh, what a nice creative shot that was. Just when I was about to think maybe he's trying to do too much with the basketball.
He's got a great body. He's athletic, as we always talk about, explosive. You know, he averaged 16.8 a game as a sophomore at Rutgers, so he was a scorer. I mean, he's got scoring ability. Worked hard on his game with his buddy Al Harrington of the Pacers this summer.
Offensive foul.
They worked down at the IMG Academy down here in Nick Bollettieri's Academy of Bradenton, where a lot of stars assemble.
A 2-point basketball game. 7:45 left in the first half. The defending national champions up by 2.
John Saunders and Digger Phelps back in the studio. It is now done and official. UConn knocks off Georgetown 55 straight, the longest in women's college basketball history. Let's take a look at the longest streaks of all. Of course, Digger, you know something about that 88 win streak. You stopped it.
But the other one at 61 was USF at home. UCLA broke that one.
All right, now let's take it back to Brent and Dick.
26-24, Maryland leading Duke basketball.
Okay.
Duhan out deep.
They got the veteran Nicholas playing on Reddick, trying to get right up in his face. They're going to pass the basketball.
Horvath on a wrap. Holding rebound.
Steve Blake in control. He's their Meister man. He's the orchestra leader with the ball in his hands. Got Dante Jones now playing Nicholas.
You know, one of the things watching Maryland, for several years you come up here and you would rely on Juan Dixon to hit the jump shot long about now. One of the great rhythm shooters and help lead him to a championship. We have a blocking foul, and he is with Michelle right now. So, Michelle, you've got a fine, fine graduate of Maryland with you.
Indeed, I do, and this whole building let him know that. Boy, when you were introduced as honorary co-captain here, this place was deafening. What is it like to be back here, Juan?
It's a great feeling, you know, being able to come back and support the guys. It's my first game here in the new Comcast Center, and it's full of excitement. These guys out here playing well right now. Hopefully they can keep it going.
You're playing just south of here with the Wizards in your new career. What's it been like playing with Michael Jordan?
Great experience, and I never thought I'd get the opportunity. You know, he's a great person, good friend, and what better person to learn from than Michael Jordan. So hopefully I can continue to take a lot of stuff in and use it in my game.
What better person for these guys to learn from than you? You've been in the huddles with them. What are you telling them through this very tense game?
Just stay aggressive. You know, this game is high magnitude. Guys got to continue to play hard, and hopefully they can get the win.
Juan Dixon, great to see you. Glad to have you back and healthy. Back to you, Brent.
All right, Michelle.
I thought that Juan Dixon last year, in the last decade, was one of the best performances I ever witnessed going into the tournament run. I mean, what an unbelievable performance by Dixon in that tournament.
Well, you can see the Williams influence key first-round draft choices. Chris Wilcox, unfortunately, he's been buried on a bench by the Clippers out there. He probably would have benefited by staying in school one more year, but who can turn on that kind of money? Certainly cannot blame him. It's Duhan in the paint, comes away with the field goal, and Duke ties it at 27.
See, I think Duhan's got to step up his offensive ability, but he's really working in a new area of his game, and that's to be the leader, the distributor, and he's doing that really well as he leads the nation in assists.
Carrying the load. Horvath. Rebounding still a problem for Maryland, I think, is what it looks like. That time, and the foul and one, and great job by Duhan.
See, he has scoring ability, Brand. I think at times he tries to distribute the ball a little too much and takes away from his great one-on-one ability and his explosiveness as he attacks the basket and gets the conversion there, and now goes for the old-fashioned way of trying to get three.
Well, this week's ESPN's Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, features two great games at 7 Eastern, number 6 Connecticut. They'll take on Darius Rice and the Miami Hurricanes. Then at 9 Eastern, Hollis Price and the number 5 Oklahoma Sooners host Bobby Knight's 25th ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. Big Monday, presented by Bud Light on ESPN.
You know, Bobby Knight getting close to that magical 800. He has 797. We salute Pat Summitt. A great achievement, getting 800. There's no telling how many she's going to get. And what about Gino Auriemma today? 55 in a row.
All out of bounds. It'll be Maryland basketball.
It's incredible the numbers those people are posting. Wow.
Pays so well, you just stick around, my friend.
I try to get in your league, man. I want to get in your league.
There's Nicholas underneath. Now,
2-on-1, you got to
make the numbers. Sue Jones for the jam. Beautiful high lob pass that time.
Wow, if that was at Cameron Indoor Stadium, those Cameron Crazies would be jumping with joy. They'd be celebrating down there at the Cameron.
As it is, they're celebrating someplace because the Dukies are off on an 8-0 run right now, Nick. Game of runs.
Such a sport team.
And Randall on the wraparound with the right hand.
They got to get him more touches, Brent. They got to get him the ball inside a little bit more often down in that low post.
Horvath on the high screen. Blake comes right through it defensively. Duhan misses, and Horvath back with an offensive putback. This is going to kill Maryland if they don't clean the glass.
They're getting some good minutes out of Horvath, a kid that's had so many injuries throughout his career. He and Sanders are certainly like forgotten guys in the eyes of the public, but to the coaches, they really respect their experience. You look at the rebound totals now even.
Foul on Duke, Williams. And Holden goes to the floor.
Got some good officials on this game. Teddy Valentine, John Clarkity. There's the lob and a great timing. That's a timing play. He's got legs like my guy Musburger. Look at him jump. Look at him jump. You jump like that in Montana?
Only when they were shooting at me, buddy.
Hey, thank you for the gift for Christmas, man. Those steaks.
That Montana beef we sent down there. And Arlene Lake takes care of you. Did you barbecue some down there? Can't beat Montana beef, my friend.
It's unbelievable. Only one problem, I don't eat red meat.
So make it well done, my friend.
But the family appreciates it as Mike Krzyzewski makes a call here.
Duke basketball out of bounds. They lead at 32-28, 4:25.
Going to a double stack offense right now, trying to pop a guy off the screen and look inside.
Randolph back to Jones. Jones has been explosive with the basketball. Gets to the baseline. Smith rebounds.
Smith, a junior college player out of Allegheny.
Nice to Blake. Gives it up to Nicholas for the three.
Great play. Great ball movement. Great reversal of the basketball. Blake showing his unselfishness, showing like why he's one of the great passers in the country. Nicholas being a cheerleader, getting this crowd. This Comcast Center is beautiful, and I'll tell you, these fans get after it down here.
Duhan shoots up an air ball, and Maryland can regain the lead.
Let them know about it too. A little air ball chant.
Steal. Here comes Jones to the inside. He's fouled. He'll shoot a pair of free throws. But Dante Jones, Dick, has stepped up big in this game. I mean, he has scored, but he's also played defense, runs the floor. Well, this is the kind of game you told me you expected from him.
Yeah, he's really that kind of player. He'll play at the next level. He's very explosive. The athletic kind of player who's really showing his offensive versatility this year. You know, last year he didn't have to with Boozer and Dunleavy and Jason Williams. He didn't have to demonstrate the kind of offense he's demonstrating now. And then he goes and airballs us. I mean, we're trying to sing his praises. Oh, look at his place, the Comcast Center. They got on me here today, too, when I walked in.
Dookie Vital.
I heard that a few times. Hey, I'll never apologize for talking about a program in a positive way when they're successful. I've sung the praises of Maryland like crazy. Deserve it? I'll talk about it. You realize that Duke is the #1 in the nation at one time or another 6 consecutive years. The only one ever to have a better record than that was John Wooden at UCLA.
Jones made the second one. Mr. Bishotti applauding an air ball. He thinks it's an interception. Timeout. You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. And to be a championship football team here at Maryland, Coach Ralph Friesen has circled the date, September 6th. That's when the Maryland Terrapins will take on Florida State. And as Ralph told me before the game, we've got to find a way to someday beat the Seminoles. Or we're not going to win the ACC.
I'll tell you, everybody's out. Regent's out. He's going to be excited also with a chance next year, because I don't think Florida State's going to be as good as they've been. Even this year, you saw them struggle big time. Take a look at Ralph. He reminds me of Rick Majerus, man. He's got the Rick Majerus look.
Yes, he does. And he is a fine coach, Dick. In 2 years here at his alma mater, he's put the show on the road. Went all the way to the Orange Bowl in Steve Spurrier's last game as head coach of the Gators. He beat him down in Miami. And then this year, Maryland could have gotten back, and then they let it get away from him in the last game of the season. But Ralph's done a good job here.
He's got a great passion for the school, just like Gary Williams.
Good point. Ewing on a nice little J. Points off turnovers are important in this game. Duke with 16 now, and Maryland with only 4.
Well, Duke lives off that turnover. They like to convert off the turnover. Digger Phelps talked about it in the studio with our buddy John Saunders. As you take a look at the points off turnovers there, 4-to-1 ratio for Duke in that sequence. Ewing's a very solid offensive player. Doesn't get a lot of notoriety. He's a kid that's matured, as Michelle Tafoya talked about last year, a diaper dandy coming off the bench.
At the line, Nick Kaner Medley.
There's Ewing and Nick Kaner Medley. Now, he's the freshman from Portland, Maine that Dick mentioned, averaging 6 points a game. He has shown good range. Dick, he's hit a couple of 3-balls.
I'll tell you, they'll find you. If you can play, no matter where you're at, when Florida finds you from wherever, when they got Mike Miller out of Dakota, and then you talk about certainly, you think about players like Matt Bonner now scoring down there at Florida. In fact, Florida is the only team to beat Maryland on this court. Billy Donovan's club. They got 10 in a row, and they're one of my choices for the Final Four. You went to see the Gators, yeah. I think they're going to get better and better with their young kids. They got a new kid stepping in now. Christian Dreyer has been out with an injury.
Dick, what about Kansas?
Very good. They're getting better. Nick Collison is now playing like Nick Collison.
Jones shoots that baseline and makes that nice pass to Ewing for the 3-ball. That was a nice play by Dante Jones. I can't tell you how impressed I am by his overall game.
And what about Daniel Ewing? Just talked about him again. There he is with the conversion. What a dynamite duel they must have been together. T.J. Ford and Ewing together in high school.
Smith gets it back. Now Gilchrist on the floor. Patiently sets it up. 2:20 to go here in the first half.
Gilchrist, the future point guard here at Maryland.
Wide open 3-ball. Yanked down by Kaner Medley. Slip it inside to Holden, who was out of control. That's an offensive foul.
Josh Holden has not been able to give him the kind of basketball I thought he was coming into this season. I thought he was going to be a star, getting the kind of minutes. Right now, he has not given them the kind of experience basketball that they really want out of him. He's an inside-outside player.
Like Baxter did down on the inside. Same kind of body, but Baxter developed his skills through the years here.
And Baxter's making money now at the next level, playing in Chicago. Holden can go outside and shoot the jump shot as well.
There's Jones with a rhythm shot. Blake doesn't see the break opportunity, but he's going to get to the right side. Nice pass, and Holden on the free throw line as a result of that pass. Foul Randolph.
Nice play by the two experienced players. Got a little diagonal pass inside. Blake with the great vision. Dumps the ball to the interior. 1,000 points, 1,000 assists potentially in his career. That is special. There's a look at Blake. Played at Oak Hill Academy with Travis Watson and Ron Slay. They were #1 in America, USA Today's poll. Holden's got a great stroke for a big player. I mean, he's got the great follow-through. His numbers don't indicate that.
Reddick's back on the floor. Horvath in for Duke.
Okay, he's talking about Gary Williams. Only 3 current guys have gone to the NCAA more consecutive years than Gary. Lute Olson, 18 in a row. Williams, Roy, 13. Bobby Huggins, 11. And then it's Gary Williams, Kelvin Sampson, and Tubby Smith and Montgomery with 9 each. Pretty good company. He's starting to get numbers that are going to get him Hall of Fame recognition.
Absolutely.
Good job defensively by Maryland. Forces a turnover.
Kaner Medley will take the ball out of bounds here with a minute and a half to go. And there you can see out of the half now the Office Depot halftime report. John and Digger will be telling you all about that Pittsburgh team. What about that team? Can they get to the Final Four?
They got potential to get there. They got a great defensive backcourt. Brandon Knight and Julius Page. And what a nice facility Ben Holland has. Down here at the Peterson Center, you're going to see that place, about 12,000. Really a great, great environment.
Reddick with the foul. This is a gorgeous building, the Comcast Center. The students ring the floor. They're right behind the front row seats on both sides. And then in the one end zone, which is pitched high, full of students too. So this has an old-time college environment around here. 4,000 students in the first 10 rows on both sides of the floor. So they have done the Cameron crazies one better.
I think it's really a great, great building. I like the idea that they put the students right on the floor. That's what makes it so special down here at Duke. They realize that the place belongs to the students. dribble. He wanted a double dribble.
Timeout.
I tell you, both sides have some outstanding future head coaches. You look at the young coaches for Duke and those from Maryland. Look, a little love. Look, Teddy Valentine, that's smart. You put your arm around a coach, give him some love, Brent. That's what I try to give to you. Give you some love.
Well, kick off your Super Bowl weekend with ABC on Saturday. We'll have the AT&T Wireless Road to the Super Bowl, followed by Blockbuster presents A Season on the Bus, John Madden's Monday Night Football experience, plus Nicholas Palmer, Irwin and Trevino, and the ConAgra Foods Champions Skins game. Next Saturday is Super Saturday on ABC. Weekends don't get any better than that, do they, folks?
Hey, I see where Robin Roberts is going to go on a bus. I'm jealous of her. She's going on Big John Madden's bus. I can't believe it. I've never been on this bus, have you?
Yes.
You have?
Not
wow.
this bus. One of the about 3 generation buses ago, okay?
Boy, they can't get a shot for Reddick. Maryland has done a phenomenal job in getting in his face after he hit too early.
He knocked this one down.
And that was not easy. That was not an easy shot. A hand was right in the kid's face, and he still converted.
So Reddick is 3 of 5 from the floor. He's hit 2 3 balls here for 8 points.
Maryland's done a great job of keeping Duke away from that free throw line to where they like to go so often. 37 for 40 against Virginia with their driving ability. Hey, think about this. In this matchup, the last 6 times they played, the team 5 times that was losing at halftime has come back and won. That's interesting. Shows you that some adjustments at halftime by the coach, some emotion. You're thinking about that one.
I'm also watching the final seconds tick off here, my friend. We're down to about 5 and 1. Gives it back to Reddick. Pump fake, fire. Wow, what a good shooter.
I'm telling you, Brent, the best shooter ever in the history of Duke. Before it will be done, you put it down, just like I told you about Francis. I said he was going to be special.
You did. I got to give you high marks for that. Now, let's take a look at the Reddick shooting ability here, Dick.
It's just amazing the way he releases that shot. There he is now going to catch the ball back out. Look at this here now. There's the head fake. Freeze it. What a great stroke. You freeze that. You can see his follow through, his rotation. He's got the great eye contact with the front of the rim.
Well, assistant coach Johnny Dawkins is with Michelle, so let's go to her now.
All right, thanks very much. Reddick was held there a little bit, but found his rhythm again. He gets open. When they've defended him, what have you told him to do?
Well, he has to keep moving. He has to keep his poise. He's an extremely great shooter. All we need to do is try to get him looks, and he'll do the rest.
This has been a game of runs and spurts. Where do you see the opportunity to open this up for Duke?
Well, I think our opportunities come on the defensive end. When we've been able to defend well, we've been able to get out and run in transition. We got some good looks for our perimeter players as well as our post guys down low.
Johnny Dawkins, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Brent.
All right, Michelle. Johnny Dawkins. He will become a head coach, and a very good one, someday, somewhere.
NCAA basketball presented by UBS Payne Weber on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Sam Adams Light. Shockingly great taste. We'll be back with the Office Depot halftime report after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
NCAA basketball on ABC, presented by UBS Payne Weber. Duke, the only unbeaten team, still standing with a halftime lead of 43-37. We take a look at the Nike first half stats, and you will see the difference in this one so far, Dick.
Well, we take a look here at the numbers. You see Duke shooting 52%. Rebound totals very similar. Turnovers, Maryland turned it over 13 times. I think the big story, as you take a look here, Jones with 12, is the fact that Maryland's done a great job of keeping Duke away from the free throw line, because they are so effective on that line, and that was one of their goals today, and that's why I believe they're only down 6 as they are. You're going to take a look at Nicholas moving without the basketball. There he is, very active, and there he is again now going to work that baseline, catches the ball, has a little turnaround jump shot. Moving without the ball is such a lost art. Here's J.J. Reddick, just a great long-range shooter. There he is with an area code jump shot from down in Reston, Virginia. Here he is with the pump fake, shooting the trifecta, nothing but nylon, just a great shooter. Trust me, he will be the best ever to wear a Duke uniform. shooting the basketball.
First possession of the second half belongs to Maryland. Back with their starting five. Nicholas on the inside, fouled, and he'll shoot a pair, and we check in with Michelle.
Well, guys, at halftime, Gary Williams told me he wants his team to shore up its defense. They allowed Duke to shoot 51%. They usually only give up 34 to 35%. Of the turnovers, he said, they're happening between transition and us getting set up in the half court. So he wants his team to get solid in their half-court sets to avoid those turnovers. Let me remind you, too, 5 out of the last 6 matchups, the trailing team at halftime has come back to win.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. That's really an interesting stat. I think a lot happens at halftime in terms of adjustment, emotion. I mean, we're talking about, I really believe, the most intense coaching rivalry in the game today. Where have all the rivalries gone?
Quick turnover on the steal.
Nice
Blake
pass.
gets it back to a cutting Nicholas for the Maryland field goal, and they jump out quickly here to pull to within 2.
Great execution. Just a tremendous job by Blake, giving it up. I love his unselfishness. Nice
Low to Randolph and stuffed by Holden, and this is a very positive start. There's the alley-oop. Yes.
Great play by Holden. He's got ability. He just has to focus and concentrate. Good timeout by Duke. Taj Holden with the great block on one end, and then comes back the other end and converts in transition.
A 6-0 run to start the second half. We're deadlocked at 43.
NCAA basketball presented by UBS Payne Weber on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Household, helping everyday people every day.
Duke has won 14 of the last 17 meetings here in College Park, but this is the first time that Duke and Maryland have played in the Comcast Center. And right now we are deadlocked. It is the 7th tie of the afternoon. Jones doubled back to Randolph and looked like he double dribbled, got away with it. Yanked back down now. Maryland coming to work again.
Taj Holden stepping up here in the second half.
That time could convert.
He's 0 for 3 in the first half. He's got to give more offense. Played 15 minutes.
Here comes Nicholas, has Blake on the right. The 3 ball.
I'll tell you, Maryland really pumped up. They were emotional. Gary Williams got them fired up at halftime, and the fans are fired up, and they're executing, Brett.
They seize the lead here, and Duke finally on the board in the second half.
Nice pass to the interior. Randolph with the finish. I tell you, you got to be great at the point guard slot to win big. That's a kid that's so underrated, Jameer Nelson. I don't think anybody's played a point guard better than he is down at St. Joe's. You should see this kid. Averaging about 19 a game, 5 assists. What a great look.
Paul missing the shot. But that time, ball down on the inside, and Randall cleaning up for him.
They are really showing some toughness now on the interior, and that's an area they were really working on, preparing for this game.
3 from Randolph. This fires, but right to Jones. Baseline right.
What a scorer he has become. He is a guy that attacks the basket, but he's more than a slasher. I think the initial report on him was a slashing player, athletic. He can shoot that stationary jump shot as well.
This is going to be a great day for Coach Krzyzewski to check out his newcomers this year, see what they're made of. McCall gets open underneath on the back door for the easy deuce.
I'll tell you, Duke's got to tighten up defensively. Maryland moving well without the ball. The ball, the football. Guy moves it out and gets himself a layup.
Jones has been a force, and once again, he's able to take it to the rack.
I tell you, when you got a big-time player who can make the big play when your team is struggling, you can talk about the diaper dandies. You need experience, and he brings experience to that Duke uniform.
Jones fouled Nicholas. Nicholas was coming off a screen down low, and he was fouled.
What a great cut without the basketball. There's McCall, the former QB here at Maryland, moving without the ball. You know, Donovan McNabb some basketball as well. You think about Tony Gonzalez, who's certainly a great tight end, played at Cal, Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
Outstanding talents on the hardwood, holding in low. So he's more aggressive, as Dick pointed out. He's come to play here in the second half.
He has. He's got ability. He's got talent.
Sanders has been pretty much a non-factor for Duke today, but there's a pass, and Ewing's on the free throw line.
Nice move by Ewing, cutting down the gut of the defense, and Sanders trying to make like a quarterback, handing it off to him. Wants the contact and to go to that foul line.
Yeah, Sanders scoreless in this game, and Duke needs a presence down low here against him.
That's one of, if you look at Duke as opposed to their past years, and Mike talks about this as well, is trying to get that balance they don't seem to have right now, scoring down to the low box. They rely so much on the perimeter and also attacking the basket off the dribble.
Yeah, Boozer was perhaps an underrated player. I think he's showing that in the NBA with Cleveland right now, Dick.
Yeah, I really like Boozer. He knew how to finish on the inside. Look at Coach K, amazing numbers, 9 Final Fours, 3 national championships. And as you know, just a great guy in terms of what he does for the Jimmy B Foundation with John Saunders and company. Trying to go to full court pressure. They want to force the turnover. Here's that matchup. Duhan and Blake, 2 of the premier point guards in the nation.
Well, Duke led it by 6 at the intermission, and now they're down 2 here in the early going. So Maryland has tightened it up under Coach Williams in the second half.
Got to slide Randall to the inside. It's a high post screen.
5 to go, and Blake's going to have to go to work. Under pressure. And Sanders, not a good offensive set that time for Maryland.
No, not good efficiency at all.
Duhan on the run short. Back comes Nicholas.
Oh, that's a foul. That's a silly foul.
And Jones.
That's a silly foul by Dante Jones. You're an experienced player. You're a veteran. You expect some young kid to make that play. 40 feet from the goal. That's a no-no.
Maryland up a deuce. Timeout. So a great rivalry, adding another chapter here today in the saga between Duke and Maryland. And the Terps open the second half with a 9-0 run. Duke leading overall 96-54. But Maryland has closed the gap here the last couple years ago. And last year, of course, they ran off with the national championship, beating Indiana in the final.
Last time Duke was here, they were #1 in the nation last year. And Chris Wilcox and company, he dominated on the inside. The last time Duke played at Cole Fieldhouse.
Maryland much more aggressive on the inside. That time for Holden, and Duke wraps it up.
They're starting to utilize Holden a lot more.
Ready. Didn't pull the trigger with a successful shot that time.
Shot that ball quickly, didn't really set himself. They want to go inside. They're looking to go inside.
They got it.
You got to convert that, Brent. You got to make that. See, right now, I think that Duke's got to utilize a more dribble penetration. Attack the gaps and try to kick it out for a 3.
Dribble penetration by Ewing, but not that time. And now Nicholas trying to get numbers, but Reddick rotates back. Behind the back with trailing Randall. Foul against Duke.
Nice play by Nicholas to the trailer. It's always good to communicate on that sequence. You got a trailer, follow it in transition. Take a look right now. He knows, he looks back. He's got the trailer. He's going to flip it back behind him. He's going to take it up, and he gets the contact.
Hey, you guys, Nicholas talked to me about this rivalry. He said, we want to win this game a little more than any of our other games. We don't hate Duke, but on the court, we dislike them a lot. But the unique thing about this rivalry, he said to me, it's really never gotten unsportsmanlike. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that, Dickie?
Well, you know, basically, and some of the fans get a little carried away sometimes on both sides, but the bottom line is the players have great respect for each other. And I know the coaches do as well, and they go after it in a very passionate way. You know, last year, Duke was off to a fast start. They suffered their first loss last year on the road to Florida State when they were 12-0.
You know, maybe it's the changing face of college basketball with all the youngsters who've gone directly from high school into the NBA. The underclassmen who've left. But in watching Duke as the only unbeaten for the first time in person They don't strike you as the dominant team that they were last year when they had the leadership of Williams out on the floor, Boozer and Dunley.
You know, 3 legitimate All-Americans, Brent. I think it's amazing that they could be in this position to be on blemish. I think people fail to realize that, and that's a good point you made.
And the foul is going to go against Duke. That's Dockery.
He's a kid from out of Chicago, hard-nosed, tenacious player. Both teams reflect the personalities. Their coach is very aggressive, very intense. You would think guys like Mike and certainly Gary never won a game in their life the way they coach. It's like the most important situation, and that's the way it is, and that's why they're so successful. We talked to both before the game, spent a lot of time with Gary and Mike, and you can just see the intensity and the dedication they have.
Down 3 with the basketball. For the tie, yes. And Dante Jones knocked the score at 53 with 14:17 to go.
As he improved his shot, it is amazing what he has done to improve that shot. Simply square the body, get under control. They broke down the film for him, showed him how he was drifting on his shot.
Nicholas pulls the trigger with an air ball, but they leave it open, and Jamar Smith, they've been waiting for that out of Smith, believe me here, and Dockery right back. Now Nicholas, look at numbers, got it. Drew the foul.
Dockery made a mistake at half court. Rather than going back defensively, he tried to play for the steal. He reached in, and as soon as he did that, the offensive pattern just exploded to the goal.
That's 3 fouls on him.
Look at Juan Dixon. I mean, this guy wants to coach. He wants to coach. Talked to Doug Collins in the lobby yesterday, and he said that he's happy to get him back. Had an elbow injury, was really playing well off the bench for them prior to hurting his elbow.
This is what they lost, along with Dixon, Lonnie Baxter, and Chris Wilcox. We talked about. We kind of forget that Byron Mouton was a very stabilizing force on that championship team.
Both these teams lose so much, Graham, but the one thing they do not lose are the coaches that they have and the great pride in wearing that jersey. And when you wear that jersey, you have to absolutely reload and get great talent. Go ahead.
Great talent. Let's see, okay?
Yeah, reload with great talent.
Both these schools know how to recruit. You were showing me that next year they're already rated 2 and 3 in the country.
Yeah, they got some great recruits coming in at Maryland. One of his best classes that he's ever assembled. Heading with a young kid by the name of Jones, Michael Jones, a shooter from out of the Boston area.
It is Duke and Maryland. For the first time this year, Bobby Duke missing the shot, and it'll be knocked out of bounds. And Duke basketball, 13:31 to go, Mr. Vitale, and the Terps lead it by 4.
You meant Chris Duhon. Now, Bobby, you're thinking of the defensive back that played for the Giants. You always got his name. Remember he played years ago?
That's right.
Bobby Duhon. That's Chris.
Here's Randolph taking the inbounds pass.
Look at that high post screen, Brent. They'll try to use it. See, they're going to get some screens for number 4. They can't get any looks, man. They're right in his face.
Oh, Chris nailed that one, didn't he? The 3 ball for Duke. They're down a point.
And he has been struggling this year shooting the 3 ball. Shooting 25% coming into this game. Much better shooter than those numbers indicate. They need a defensive stop.
Gilchrist in move. Beauty.
He's going to be a good player, Brent. He played a lot with Reddick in the AAU competition down here in Virginia.
Turn it over.
Bad pass right there by Horvath. Bad pass. Duhon wanted a deflection. Take a look right here at Gilchrist with a nice little spin. This freshman getting some good minutes. There he is hanging in the air.
Gilchrist feels he can play with this team. You can see it in his body language. They have him out on the floor with Blake right now.
They're very high on him, Brent. They really believe he's got a great future here.
Look at him cut without the basketball to the top. He's got good speed, recognition, can set the floor.
Look at a lot
coming off a screen, keeps the dribble that time. Now gives it up to Kaner Medley. They weave out on top. Deep 3 for Blake. And a jam back in by Smith. That's twice Smith has gone to the glass.
Beating him on the inside, beating him to the offensive boards. And then
medley and a jump ball. I believe Randolph or Horvath went there with him.
What intensity, what emotion. Unbelievable. I feel right from their coach, Mr. Williams, is closing in on 500 wins. There's Blake with the jumper, and here comes the offensive board. Mr. Smith says, get me some PT, baby. He's a junior college player that hasn't had a lot of minutes.
I got to ask you a question.
Go ahead. Don't make it tough now.
No, it's not.
I'm not that bright. Don't make it tough.
This is your guy, and I'm wondering why J.J. Redick disappears for long stretches. Now, with 17 minutes, he disappeared in the first half, and now in the second half, he hasn't been a real presence.
Well, he's got to learn the art of getting free for a shot. That comes with experience, how to use screens, how to get free. He's the attention of a lot of teams now. They know about his reputation, and they get right up in his face. But that's an art even last night. Yao Ming starts the game off brilliantly against Shaquille O'Neal, and then disappears in turns until the end when he scored a few points.
Smith is over there too tight. When Randolph is going to be called with the foul, this is going to go over to Maryland. And Mike not happy about that.
That intensity, former West Point cadet, 6 consecutive years number one in America at a time. I'll tell you, he'll fight this guy
now
right
they went
here.
back the other way, and now Gary's upset because the ball's going back to Duke over there.
Gary started his coaching career at Woodrow Wilson High School in Camden, New Jersey. The guy that gave him his break
was on
this year.
Smith over in the corner. They ship it into Dockery.
Dockery not a long-range shooter, Brad. He's more a guy that's going to attack the basket with the dribble.
Tried to, but he was sealed up that time, Dick.
Yeah, good defensive job. Try to use that.
Randolph screens high. Duhan coming in is fouled. Got it.
Look at Gary. He's trying to get the attention of John Clark and
Oh,
Teddy
he's
Valentine.
upset.
Teddy's going down there. He'll settle things.
And rather quickly, Mr. Valentine, you do not mess with. 61-56. Maryland. 4 straight fouls on the Terps.
John Saunders, Digger Phelps back in the studio. Ole Miss facing LSU. You watch the clock. Antonio Hudson is going to miss. Daryl Mitchell with the follow. Did he beat it?
Yeah, I gave it to him. We got to have it. But LSU, yeah. They win at home, but can they win in the road in the SEC? That's the question mark.
Second half is just now underway. Brent, Dick, Michelle.
On the team.
And John, here Maryland leads Duke 61-56. But as they say, the natives are restless. As Blake has just picked up his 3rd foul. Duhan's 3 ball. Knocked back into Gilchrist's hands. And here is the ever-active Gilchrist. Built a little bit like a defensive back.
Very quick.
He's got some spunk, folks.
Yeah, he's very quick. You know what's the difference here, Brent, in the second half? Maryland's only turned the ball over 1 time versus 13 in the first half. And that's why they're executing a lot better offensively. And they've got an 11-point turnaround here. They were down 6 and are up 5. Remember, we talked about it. 5 of the last 6 times they've played, the team losing at halftime has come back to win.
Double foul, number 3.
So it's on Horvath. That's his 3rd foul. Maryland has shot 15 free throws. They're 13 of 15. Duke 5 of 9.
That's big. Just think about their game with Virginia. They were 37 for 40. And Gary told me on the phone yesterday, he said, we must reduce the time that they go to the free throw line. And they're doing that today.
Yeah, it's huge in this game as Gilchrist is ready to step up at the 11-18 mark.
He's given him some quality minutes, Brent. Gilchrist and Smith off the bench have given him some positive minutes. Too much talking going on by the officials. You've got to play basketball, man. They're breaking up the rhythm of the game now. There's too much conversing going on. That's why I don't like sometimes in the NFL when they constantly go to that replay. It just breaks up the rhythm and the timing. It's okay to use technology, but the human error is part of the game, too. More quality minutes out of Mr. Gilchrist, a big plus for this team. You mentioned earlier their recruiting class next year. They got Strawberry's son coming here. DJ Strawberry, modern day, a good player. Kid Michael Jones. They got some really solid players. 5 outstanding players Maryland's bringing in. Some people rate it one of the top 3 classes in America. That's the fruits of that national
Duke's got to find a way to get Reddick shooting. He's too good a shooter.
Nicholas all over him. See, he can't get great looks.
Misses the three that time. Rebound Maryland.
Putting a lot of pressure on a young kid, though. They got to find a way to get him some looks, and Duhan's got to assert himself a little offensively, I believe.
How important is this building? Well, Maryland is the favorite in this game, and that is a tribute to their fans and the difficulty a road team has here. In the second half, the Terrapins have started to exert themselves, and now they are 28-13 this half to lead at 65-56. And Reddick has missed 2 in a row for the Blue Devils.
Great block. Number 1 team in the country. Could it be?
Smith on the line. Foul on Randolph.
We may be in a situation. Nobody undefeated as you look at Coach K. They were number 1 last year when they arrived in College Park. Life on the road. Mike Krzyzewski told us before the game, this is going to be one heck of a test for my young people.
Got to tell you, Dick, I think the youngster who could make Maryland a contender in the ACC is number 11. I'm very, very impressed with Mr. Gilchrist.
I think Smith also coming off the bench certainly has been very valuable. And I think for them to be a contender, Holden's got to step up. They got a date on the road Wednesday night. We'll be doing that game down there, Mike Patrick and I, when they take on North Carolina. And you got to win away from home, man. You got to win a game or 2 away from home, and you got to protect your turf. You got to win on your floor and try to steal a few games away from home. This crowd was ready. They've been a great lift to him. Look at this run. Look at this run. Duke was up 6 at the half.
Dante Jones will try to take over. He's on the free throw line.
Duke needs one of its patented runs, and it usually comes off their defense. But they're not forcing a turnover.
Hey guys, Coach K told me that Dante Jones has also got to be one of the main options for Duke because he can shoot, score in the post, drive and get to the free throw line and hit the offensive boards. Therefore, he should be a consistent impact player for us and at times go on a streak in the game. You can see he's been productive in this one. Is he ready to start a streak?
Michelle, he was 10 for 10 on the foul line in that game with Virginia, and he's been scoring better than 20 a game in his last 5 or 6 games. Look at the concentration. They got to make something happen defensively, though. They got to try to force a turnover.
Gilchrist running the floor.
Maryland's got that step to it, don't they, Brett? They got that step of a team, a little slide. I can feel we're better. They got that slide.
Tanner Medley lost it. And then Ewing gives it right back, and you know who that was.
Here goes.
Wide open underneath. Randall.
Randall takes it up strong.
John Gilchrist is making a difference.
He has really been big. There's no doubt about it. Gilchrist has stepped up. So has Smith and Tanner Medley as well. Their bench has been very productive.
Dante misfires. This could really get away from Duke.
Nice pass.
And off him. Now check out number 11, Traylon Ewing. The way he came back, he reminds you of Claret going back after that interception in the national championship football game down at the Fiesta Bowl.
What a great game that was. Look at a steal right there. You talk about emotion. Ohio State had their football team introduced last week and they upset Indiana. Today they bring out here Juan Dixon and Adrian Branch, and this place went bananas. Made him honorary captain.
McRae on the inbounds pass.
He's a good-looking freshman as well. Played well against Wake Forest, and he's pumping up the crowd. Oh, these Turks are on fire, baby! These Turks are on fire!
Ewing is fouled.
That's one of the strong suits to do. Attack the basket, create a fouling situation, go to the line, convert it. Dr. John Jackson, their fine SID today. We're talking about depth. I think this is probably the deepest team that Mike Krzyzewski's had. But you think about 91, and they were certainly very deep then when they had kids coming off the bench like Antonio Lang, McCaffrey, and Brian Davis. They don't have the stars on this team like they had in 91. You take a look at the Duke coaching staff. Look at the Duke bench. All the coaches sit here, players to this end. They like that kind of philosophy. It's just a way of philosophy. When you look at Maryland, the players are right in there with the coaches. Everybody has their unique style. And one thing I like about both, they got former players who work that sideline and have a passion and love for their school. And both these programs have some outstanding young assistants who are going to be head coaches.
Here's Smith now on the wing. Up over the top. Off Williams and tapped out. It'll go over.
Physically right now, you got to give the edge to Maryland. I mean, they really are pounding inside on the glass as well. If Duke's going to come back and win, it's going to be the way of the three ball. The three ball has to go down. They got to find a way to knock some threes if they're going to get back in this game.
Redick is not even on the floor right now.
Struggling offensively. They are struggling.
It goes over.
You got to credit Maryland defensively. They're not giving them any easy looks at all, Brent. As Redick on the bench, he's going to have to really understand with his reputation, people are going to be in his face. And that's going to go with him. And he's going to be a great Duke player. There's no doubt about it.
That was fouled, and Dante Jones in behind. I believe that's number 4 on Jones. Is that 3? 3.
3 on Jones. Hey, Brent, you know, to show you the rebounding totals, how they've changed drastically. It was 14-14 on the glass at one time. Since then, Maryland's out-rebounded Duke, and you can see how much more aggressive they are, and the numbers indicate it. 23-8, Michelle. They're dominating them on the glass.
Indeed, and you know, Mike Krzyzewski, we heard him earlier referring to finding out just what kind of team he's going to have. He said earlier in the week to me, a lot of these guys, my freshmen, aren't going to become who they are until they're older. It's a wide gap they have to get through, from high school player to college player to good college player. But he said good things will happen. It's just going to be a matter of time, Dickie V.
Yeah, he's been very honest about that when he sees them at number 1. Told me there could be about 10 or 15 teams that could claim number 1. And they're there because they have not lost. But they have not played on the road other than 2 games. Playing on the road is a different way of life, isn't it, Brent?
It certainly is.
That's a part of maturity that a team has to go through, understanding how to focus on how to execute and to be able to shut out the crowd noise and the environment. And that takes time. Mike knows what a great team is because he's had great teams.
Dick, let's focus on the background that the Blue Devils and every other visiting team will have to face when they come in here. Now, the end zone is pitched higher than Sanders is looking into, and you can see that that is part of the student body up there, and you've got to really focus and concentrate. The good shooters, of course, can do that. Sanders is able to knock that down, but that is going to be, through the years, that's going to be a tough end zone for a background. As you see the steepness, how much higher that end zone is pitched than the other end for the student body.
And I think it's great that the students really get the floor here, get the first 10 rows around the building. I know that they're really excited about this building. Hey, you talk about a guy doing a job as an AD, Joe Oliva down at Duke. They've spent millions now building a new football building. Doing a great job down there getting that place to where their football program, they expect to be pretty decent next year. They got a new building. You look at Mike Krzyzewski, responsible for raising a lot of cash out there.
Now the Blue Devils trying to claw back here at the free throw line as Williams steps up. So they get back-to-back trips to the free throw line here without Maryland having a shot at the basket, but they only converted 1 of 2 the last time.
See, and that's where they excelled against Virginia in the last game. 37 for 40. See, right now, coming up empty. You might be right. Maybe that's bothering their look at the goal line there. A little different, though, when you're playing at home. And Mike has really credited this year the Cameron Crazies for giving these kids such a lift. And
Duke's only 50%, Dick, on the free throw line.
Struggling on the line. First time they've been behind like this as well.
Official timeout.
And free throws on the road, you've got to make them when you get the chance. Right now, the Terps lead at 73-60.
NCAA basketball presented by UBS Paine-Webber on ABC Sports. Brought to you by UBS Paine-Webber. There's a process to building wealth, and our financial advisors know it. And the all-new Accord from Honda. It's more Accord than ever.
So we are back, and Duke has been held to 17 points here in the second half. As you take a look at the UBS Paine-Webber game track, only 5 of 21 from the floor shooting, and a 36-17 margin.
And really executing, not turning the ball over, really prepared, attacking the basket, getting good bench play. Great execution in attacking the full-court trap, bringing the ball away from the double team. Gary Williams and his staff really have these kids in the second half ready to play, and they're playing brilliantly.
Redick back on the floor for the Blue Devils, and it is Jones carrying it to the basket that time.
Experience, man. When you got experience on the floor, Nicholas and Blake and Randall, these kids have been around.
Gary wants to take a few seconds off the clock right now.
You know, think about Blake. He's got a chance to 1,000 assists. Only 3 other guys have done that in the NCAA. Bobby Hurley, Chris Porciani, and Ed Cota, all out of the ACC. 1,000 assists. That's incredible.
$16 on the shot, 6:57 for the game, and the Terps with a comfortable 13-point lead over the nation's only unbeaten.
I think one of the great records Duke has is 4 consecutive ACC titles. I think that's amazing.
Duhan couldn't keep control, ball out of bounds. Hey, Michelle.
Well, Brent, Chris Duhan and I spoke earlier in the week. He told me he thinks Steve Blake is a quote-unquote tremendous player. He says he shoots, he defends, he's unselfish, he's a leader, and he called it an honor and a challenge whenever he faces him. And he's certainly been honored and challenged today.
Shot clock running out. The student body helped him there as they counted down the last 5 seconds. Now Redick is picked up. Gets it back to Ewing. And offensive foul against Duke.
I think they picked up Redick from the moment he got off the bus. As soon as he got off the bus, they had a Maryland Terp in his face.
Well, Dick, as soon as they find out that his best game is coming off screens and using teammates, they will pick him up early until he learns how to create with the dribble.
You know, Maryland talking about Duke winning 4 consecutive ACC titles. To put that in, you know, just to look at how amazing it is. The last time that Maryland won the ACC title was 1984.
There's the foul against Nicholas, who is looking over here at Ray Lewis and saying, Ray, what's this? I mean, help me out here.
Look at Ray. Ray doing a little chore. Look at Ray. Look at Ray doing a little trash talking on that sideline. Look at Ray. Nicholas says, well, I don't blame him.
Redick off the dribble that time.
Nice drive. He can do more than just shoot the jump shot, Brent. He's got driving ability, very strong body. Talked to Chris Collins about that yesterday. Fine. Consistent.
Redick and Jones, which seem to be their weapons that Duhan needs to get involved, and McBray is fouled by Redick, who may have a bloody nose right now. I'm not sure that he won't be asked to leave the floor. Is there a little blood coming down? The team quickly gathers around.
You gotta help me. I had some blood on my lip today. I had blood on my lip. I was messing up your car.
That seems all right. He took a blow up there on that drive to the basket.
I'll tell you one thing, what a great performance though in the second half. You can't stress that enough. You got to sing their praises by the Terps on a defensive end and offensively, the way they've handled the basketball and reduced their turnovers. Now you get down to 5 minutes, Brent. You just make free throws and you got yourself a big win over number 1. Get yourself that big confidence build. Gary Williams, I know one thing. He had these kids pumped up here today. The students are ready to go.
Dante off the dribble. Out on the inside, Sanders is fouled.
Dante Jones is going to have a great year. You can just see that he's such an improved talent.
Well, coming up next, catch the dance in the men's finals at the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Then tonight at 8 Eastern, the Olympic gold medalist Sarah Hughes Six-time champion Michelle Kwan, rising star Sasha Cohen compete for the ladies' crown on ABC Sports Championship Television.
This is that first free throw. You know, I mentioned 1984. That was the year of the left-hander. And we're going to miss it. I'll tell you, where all the characters gone in coaching. They're all Louis Koniseka, Lefty Drizel. Lefty, we wish you the best, my friend. He did a great job while he was here to create basketball excitement. Proclaimed it the UCLA of the East.
Duke still struggling at that free throw line, and it's 77-64, 5.5 minutes to go.
They want to take some time off the clock, but still execute their half-court game.
Sanders takes away the glass, and it is stolen on the inside by McCray. Out of bounds, Maryland. Good hustle by McCray.
Sanders made a major mistake, though, Brad. At 7 feet or 6'11", he brought the ball down to his knees, and he reduces his size. He becomes a 5'11" player.
Those are the kind of things that isn't impressive watching Yao Ming. He knows those things. I mean, he's fundamentally, think about last night's game against the Lakers and the win by Houston out there. I can't believe, Dick, that in that game, somebody blocked Shaquille O'Neal on his first 3 shots.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Yao Ming is the real deal.
There's the 5th foul.
The gold trophy of Rookie of the Year. They better think about Amari Stoudemire out of Phoenix.
So Redick is gone.
Yeah, had a tough afternoon. I mean, the kid is a great shooter. He really is, Brent. And he's going to be a super player at Duke. The 13 points today. Didn't get many looks. Just makes you regroup as a Duke basketball team. But they got quality kids, certainly quality coaches. They just understand you got to come to play away from home and execute. Certainly wasn't the lack of intensity or preparation. You just can't replace the kind of people they lost that easily. I mean, we're talking about 3 of the top 10 players in the United States last year in Jason Williams, Michael Dunleavy, and Carlos Boozer.
So Maryland closing in on a victory which would be Duke's first loss of the season. Now, who would be number 1? Who will you vote for number 1 in the country?
Well, we got certainly this weekend to go right now, but I'll tell you, right now, this looks like it's going to be one great season in terms of trying to figure out who's going to be in that Final Four. It's wide open. I mean, Arizona, to me, they win today, will probably be number 1. They play UCLA, where Steve Lavin is just struggling big time. It'll be a miracle if he can survive the heat that's building up down there in L.A.
When you go back to the start of this game, it was 13-3. Duke spurted early. And Maryland was having trouble protecting the basketball. But since then, the Terps have been in the thick of it, even though they trailed by 6 at the intermission.
And they got that three-point weapon. If they kick the ball out and take some threes, they can battle themselves back to make it a game. I mean, really, they have that kind of shooting. I know they're down 15, but there's a lot of time on that clock. They're a great spurt basketball team, but I'll tell you, it doesn't look, when you look at what's happening out here, that it's possible the way that Maryland's executed. Maryland really has come after it defensively. You know what I liked in 1984 when he won the ACC tournament title, Lefty Drizel? He said, I'm going to put the trophy on the front of my car and I'm going to drive all around North Carolina.
Dockery reaching in behind, committed the personal foul. Well, this week's Payne-Weber Senior of the Week is Creighton University's Kyle Korver. And on the court, Kyle leads the 14th ranked Blue Jays in points, rebounds, and assists. Scored 31 points in the win over Evansville. And Creighton's 14-1. But off the court, he serves as a mentor to students at the local middle school. And they participated with his teammates in community service efforts for the Habitat of Humanity and Make-A-Wish Foundation. Payne-Weber donates $1,000 to its Senior of the Week Scholarship Fund in the name of Creighton senior Kyle Korver.
I'll tell you, Brent, I wrote about him in the paper the other day, and also my website. I wrote about the fact if I had a vote for Player of the Year right now in the middle of the season, Kyle Korver would be my choice. He's having a brilliant year for Creighton, and they could be one of the teams for the first time since '79, the mid-major ranks go to the Final Four. '79, it was Indiana State, and it was also Penn. He's on ESPN2 tonight, by the way. He can really stroke the shot against Southern Illinois plays tonight. Maybe Notre Dame, he knocked down 7 trifectas, knocked down 8 trifectas against Xavier.
Basket by Dante Jones.
So Jones will try to complete the three-point play. 81-66, 4:24 to go.
Duke has been dominated here in the second half. In almost every phase you can break the game down, Duke has been dominated. Defensively, they haven't executed offensively, and it's been all Maryland. And you got to sing their praises. And trust me, when it's all said and done, this Duke basketball team will regroup and will win a lot of basketball games again. You know, Mike Krzyzewski has the most 30-game win seasons of any coach in America.
Going the back door with a beautiful pass and the finish for Nicholas.
Nicholas has really elevated his game. He was the spark that wouldn't let them fold early in this game when they were down 13-3.
Jones drives through traffic.
Talking about some other year candidates. Brian Cook having a great year for Illinois. Mo Williams from down there in Alabama. Michael Sweetney from out of Georgetown. Big power guy in a low box.
Nicholas at the line.
Hey,
now 3:24 to go.
Let's start something, you and I. Shouldn't Georgetown and Maryland play every year? I mean, Georgetown and Maryland should play every year. They should kick off the start of the season. I mean, how do they not play? It's a natural. I mean, even a dummy like me could figure that out. Just like Cincinnati should play Ohio State every year. We'll start scheduling right now, Mr. Musburger. You and I go into scheduling business.
And the Buckeyes could have let it slip away at that football game. They went down to Cincinnati and played that game. Right. Gamble, their outstanding two-way player, had to make a late interception down to the end zone. Cincinnati pushed the Buckeyes to the wall. They were pushed by several teams this year, and then they prevailed in the end with just a magnificent championship season.
And here, last year's basketball champions, Maryland, standing tall right now against the team that is ranked #1.
Missouri against Oklahoma State. Victor Williams lines up a 3, and that's the story of how the game would go.
Arthur Johnson, the only guy being a factor for Missouri in the paint, no one else in the perimeter.
So Quinn Snyder loses today. Meanwhile, Notre Dame's facing Kentucky. Mike Bray is down in that game. And Michigan and Tommy Amaker up by 7. So the Duke coaching connection, not the greatest of days, guys.
I'll tell you one thing, John. You think about Quinn Snyder, tough, losing Ricky Clemens, their outstanding point guard, suspended right now. They lose him, and that's a major loss. Tommy Amaker, that's 11 in a row if he wins today. They lost their first 6 games.
Yeah, Tommy Amaker figures to be an outstanding coach, but we talked about the coaching rivalry, and here's what Gary Williams and Coach K have to say about Duke, Maryland.
I've never been real big on coaching rivalries.
There's been a lot of funny things happen in this rivalry.
We wouldn't be able to rival if we didn't have good players.
I think one of the reasons is we finally got good enough where we could compete.
We kind of ride the wave of good players and good teams.
So I think that's what's made it a great rivalry. It wouldn't be a good rivalry unless we were competitive. So the minute we're not competitive, then it'll move on. It'll be another rivalry.
Can you imagine what the scene will be like down at Cameron for the rematch? And then perhaps they will meet again in the ACC tournament. And who knows? Beyond that, right now, today, it looks like Maryland. But it's early in the season, and Duke wasn't going to go unbeaten through the course of the year. I think every realist understands that. I think Mike Krzyzewski and the coaching staff have probably learned something about this team, and the players have learned something about themselves. For example, they've shot only 45% from the free throw line here today. Maryland, meanwhile, has hit 17 consecutive free throws. Now make it 18.
And that's amazing because Duke lives by going to that line like they did in the Virginia game, and really one of their big assets, 37 for 40. But today, Maryland has really excelled on the free throw line.
Dick, you coached. Wouldn't you agree that teams frequently learn more after a loss than they do a win?
Well, I think you get their attention a lot better. You're able to reach them. But I think this is a young team that's going to go through these situations playing on a road, the Duke basketball team. But I also believe by the end of the year, they're going to be tough as nails. I really do believe that because I have so much confidence in that man on that sideline. He's in the Hall of Fame for one reason. He knows how to win. 4 consecutive ACC tournament titles. I mean, he's put up numbers that are just scary, what he's done down there at Duke. Hey, by the way,
he's gone deep into his bench now with Melchione out there. Thompson's back on the floor. Buckner's on the floor. So Mike knows that their winning streak's coming to an end here against Maryland. Wants to give some youngsters a little bit of playing time.
Well, last year they were #1 in America and lost here. Wilcox had a big game and beat them. Hey, Gary Williams, an author. Sweet Redemption is his book.
Buckner with a beautiful move inside.
Nice little drive by Buckner. His brother is in the NBA. Look at the terms here. Last win versus #1 Duke. 87-73. Wilcox at 23 in that Duke. And our buddy Johnny Holiday, who does the games on radio, does a great job. Has a book out too. From Rock to Jock. He told me, he said it's hot. It's going off the shelf. Rock to Jock. Josh Barr wrote a book here, Washington Post basketball writer, about the year they had last year in Maryland.
Holden even firing up threes. And here comes Buckner on the hustle for the Blue Devils.
These kids don't get a lot of playing time. They practice so hard. So Mike Krzyzewski knows this game is history and giving some kids a few moments on that floor. He's got a heck of a staff there with Johnny Dawkins and Wojciechowski and Collins. It was so nice in the hotel lobby last night to see the hug of Doug and his son.
Nice steal by Nicholas. Here comes the crowd, folks.
Oh, he did the jam.
He misses the jam.
He's got a smile on his face. Raymond Lewis can't believe it.
Buckner's rejected. McCray rifles the ball at the Duke sideline. Man, that was some rejection over there.
It really was. See, I think Mike's 100% on target when he says that these kids feed off the crowd down in Cameron with the Crazies being such a vital part of them. They have to learn how to play away from home, and that's going to be an educational problem.
It was Gary Williams who suggested that the students occupy the first 10 rows around this court. And it is going to be a very imposing, tough place for anybody to come in here and win. Michelle?
Yeah, they say memories make a house a home, Brent, and a lot of memories were made back at Cole Fieldhouse. Comcast Center has yet to have its first truly significant memory-making game, but a win over the #1 undefeated Duke Blue Devils would certainly be that first memory to add some lore to this building, wouldn't it, Dickie V?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But Brent and I were talking off the air, Michelle, and we really believe this year there aren't a lot of great teams in college basketball, a lot of good teams. This moment's going to belong to the Terps.
In the body, you got it.
Maryland bringing the final seconds down. They came in here an ever so slight favorite, and they have blown out the top-ranked and unbeaten Duke Blue Devils with 5 left on the shot clock. Blake fires up. Nicholas offensive rebound, and Dockery knocks it out, and now Maryland can run out the final 13 seconds. They don't even have to fire it up. Blake will take the ball out of bounds, and he'll wait to set the table here for the final 13 ticks of the clock. And here we go now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There are no unbeatens left in college basketball. The Duke Blue Devils have fallen to the defending national champion Maryland Terrapins, 87-72. A 15-point victory. And the students take the floor.
Oh, wow. Bedlam, Bedlam, Mr. Musburger. They beat #1. Look at this guy.
So Duke's low total of the year, 2 points fewer than they scored in a win over Wake Forest.
They're celebrating right now down at Bentley's. I can tell you that. They're jumping with joy here in College Park. What a great second half, Brent. They played brilliantly offensively.
50-29, they outscored them in the second half. Duke led 43-37. Then basically it was all Maryland.
Well, you know, it's come back to that theory we talked about. 5 of the last 6 times, the team losing at halftime.
Let's go to Michelle with Coach Gary.
Yes, sir. Got to the winner's circle.
All right, thanks, guys. We're trying to find space in this crowd. Boy, at halftime you told me you wanted the defense to turn it up and you wanted to limit the turnovers. It's one thing to say it, Gary. How did these guys do it?
I wish I knew how. It's the players, you know. You can talk about things at halftime, but the players always have to execute. And they did a great job the second half.
One of the ways they did a great job was converting at the free throw line, which ended up being so enormous. How proud of you are you of that fact?
Well, against a team like Duke, you have to do everything right. If the game's close, free throws are going to be big. We were able to get a lead, and then we played really smart with the lead, and we got to the line by going inside.
A terrific game. Congratulations on the win. Drew Nicholas is standing here as well. When the chips were down early and you guys were trailing, you really kept these guys in it. What was going through your mind?
Just to stay focused. You know, we really thought that as long as we played 40 minutes hard, you know, we could come out, we could play like the way we did.
You guys always want to beat Duke, but to do it here at home with them being undefeated at #1, what does this do for the confidence of the team?
Enormous amounts. You know, it's the first time that we got a #1 in the Comcast Center. You know, it's the first time I thought we really put together a terrific effort for 40 minutes. And Duke's a great basketball team, but you know, we played really hard tonight, and we were able to get the win.
You closed them out. Congratulations, Drew. Brent, let's send it back to you.
All right, Michelle. Nicholas leading the way for Maryland with 24 points. 87-72. The Terps win it. Now let's send it to John and Digger back in our studios.
Brent, thanks a lot. And Digger, you see the fans, the students rushing the floor. Do they forget they won the national championship last year? They're supposed to be used to coming up with big victories. But as you said at the start of the game, experience and turnovers would be the key.
And we take a look at Nicholas and Blake at halftime. You know, they lose to to Wake Forest on the road Wednesday night. And now they got a losing halftime. They got we got to get focused. The key was they didn't turn the ball over in the second half, and that's where Duke couldn't get the easy points. But John Gilchrist, boy, what a great job he did as a freshman. Gave him that 3-guard perimeter offense, and that's where Maryland really put this game away with their fast break offense.
And you could really see that the Duke team, there was an example of how they feed off the crowd at Cameron. They could not do that on the road. This is UBS Payne Weber post-game report. We'll come back with more in a moment. The Terps knock off the Devils.